Now, the question is, how much should petrol be sold for? This perhaps the number one question on the lips of Nigerians, if you ask them. So tonight, Babajide Ogunsanwo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here to perhaps tell us what the future of petrol price could look like. Babajide, it's always good to have you on the news at 10. Thank you for joining us today.
Good evening,
Now, who determines the price of petrol in Nigeria? What are the facts we have?
Who determines the price of petrol? Perhaps no one. Perhaps the question then will be, what determines the price of petrol? And we will get into that. You had started by saying that the number one question on the lips of Nigerians is, how much will petrol be sold? But there's another question on the lips of Nigerians. It is, how much will the Dangote refinery sell petrol? And I'll share some good and bad news tonight. But before that, a lot of Nigerians really want to understand what exactly is going on with petrol supply and petrol pricing. And I'd like you to take a quick look at this. On this side, we have those that sell, the upstream producers of petrol, those that market, distribute, invest in petrol. We're not really focused on this team here. The team Nigerians, and this is the representative of Nigerians. What they're asking is, they're asking questions to Aliko Dangote. They're asking questions to the federal government, and they're asking questions to the NNPC. For the federal government's answers in summary have been simple. Their answers are, our focus is on CNG. However, we understand that we need to manage rising cost of goods and services, and also the federal government is stating clearly that energy prices have national security implications. For Dangote refinery, represented by Alhaji Aliko, he's clearly talking about his profits, he's done an investment, and he has obligations that if things do not go according to plan, will significantly hurt his business. For NNPC, their position is simple. Their position is they want to protect the interests of Nigerians, and they are saying that private refinery operators in history have shown to be capitalist, and they are worried about the future of the industry. But the issue is, at the moment, Nigerians are finding it difficult to trust any of these ones. In fact, what is happening now is Nigerians are gradually turning their backs because they have found out that the cost of the truth in Nigeria is even getting higher than the cost of petrol. Those are the facts. If we had followed history, we'll have understood the challenges we face today were already on the way. Let's take a look at what exactly were we talking about this time last year. Let's take a critical look at what were the headlines. We see the CBN and the BDCs were on a collision course because of the FX black market premium. Look at the news September 6th, subsidy returns. This was last year, September 6th, NNPC to manage the market shocks. Again, last year, September, we're already talking about a petrol forecast of 900 naira per litre. Headlines September last year. Not only this, the headlines even got more worrisome. Anxiety as forex scarcity halts petrol importation. Again, we've seen that the challenges we face today did not start today. We just failed to look at our history books and to understand the consequences of all the discussions we were having last year. Now, to that question, will Dangote's petrol be cheaper than NNPC's? And the summary is, it will be easier to turn water to wine than for you to expect Dangote's refinery's petrol will be cheaper than that of NNPC. And there are three reasons why. The first is crude oil sales to Dangote. Yes, the president has hinted that and directed that Dangote refinery should perhaps be sold crude oil in naira. But the question is, at what exchange rate? Will the NNPC of the federal government be subsidizing the rates at which the crude oil volumes will be sold to Dangote? Unlikely, no. The second reason is financial performance. Aliko Dangote intends to list this company in about 7 months on the exchange. And so, his eyes will be on metrics such as return on investment, return on capital employed, the internal rate of return of this investment. And the third and final reason why the refinery is not likely to sell at a price lower than that of the NNPC is because people point to the age of Aliko Dangote, 67, a $20 billion investment. People ask, when will this project break even? Clearly, Aliko Dangote's focus will be on a faster break even. And yes, some have argued that it seems to be now more of a businessman than a Nigerian. Some also have argued that it seems to even have been more of a Nigerian than a businessman. But the facts don't change. His focus is on making this refinery profitable. His focus is on reaching a break-even point as quickly as possible. And perhaps he might even right now be thinking of exiting as soon as possible.
But some have also argued that relative to what neighboring countries or maybe other countries in the world sell petrol, that Nigeria's price of petrol is actually cheap. Now, are there statistics to track how much petrol is smuggled out of Nigeria, and what do these statistics reveal, if there are?
First is, on statistics regarding how much petrol is smuggled out of Nigeria, the best you will see would not even be estimates, it will be guesstimates. And so let's not pontificate and make a lot of errors on how much petrol is being smuggled out. What we can talk about are the facts, and that is there's been a lot of misinformation about petrol pricing. People only show half of the picture. They talk about how much is the petrol price per liter across a lot of countries to show that Nigeria's petrol is low. However, the proper way to look at it is to look at the income of the families living in this country. So let's take a look at either the median income or let's take a look at the minimum wage, because it then allows us to put things in the right perspective. Here's what I mean. In Morocco, for instance, petrol is sold at an equivalent naira cost of 2,442 naira per liter. However, the minimum wage in Morocco is the equivalent of 610,000 naira per month. So if you're a family living in Morocco and you chose to use all of your minimum wage to buy petrol, you will buy 250 liters. Again, look at the situation in Côte d'Ivoire. Petrol cost an equivalent of also a 2,442 in Côte d'Ivoire. Minimum monthly wage in Côte d'Ivoire equivalent of 200,000 naira per month. That, if you chose to use all that minimum wage for petrol, you get 82 liters. And so the discussions have to be more fluid. In Nigeria, we're looking at an upwards of 897 naira, 70,000 naira monthly minimum wage. That will only give you, if you chose to use all your minimum wage for petrol, 78 liters. So whenever you hear a discussion of anyone comparing the price of petrol in Nigeria with other countries, what you should ask the person is, what is the standard and quality of life of families in those countries? How much is the average family earning? And what is the alternative to petrol in these countries?
But how much is fuel price? When we talk about change since May 2023, when this administration came into power, how much change has happened since then?
And that is what is making Nigerians angry. Let's take a look at the price of petrol since this government came in and the implications, especially the political implications. Because if we take a look at how much was this petrol May last year, May this year, and what is the average rate, especially looking at the report from the National Bureau of Statistics, they tell us May 2023, average petrol price across the 6 geopolitical zones, 238 naira. May this year, year after, 769 naira. And the last report from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that their report for July shows that petrol prices have been on the increase. The summary is, we've seen significant, since May 2023, petrol prices increasing by over 200%. Those are the facts. As well, beyond this petrol pricing, we need to understand who should be blamed. A lot of Nigerians and misinformation in general has blamed the NNPC. However, and the facts point to something else. Let's take a look at what are the facts on how much has the official exchange rate been. And this is what is influencing. These are the facts that are really influencing the change in petrol price. 2019, official exchange rate 306 naira. 2023, 770 naira in September. Now we're at the point where the exchange rate is over 1,000. And 1,600 naira. In summary, one of the areas we need to look at if we want to reduce this is to make sure that we manage the economy better. And finally, I talked about the good news. Let's take a look at some of the news coming out from the representatives of the industry talking about what Nigerians should expect in the future. They've made it clear that their decisions and that of the federal government is to make life better for Nigerians and generations yet unborn. Despite the tough circumstances, affordable and available quality petroleum products for our citizens is on the top of our mind. And that's the words from the NNPC GCO, Mele Kyari. And in the final analysis, what Nigerians are now expecting is in another 23 days, will be on October 1st. What will President Tinubu say to Nigerians?
All right, we'll be hoping to hear what he has to say. Thank you very much, Babajide Ogunsowo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, for your exciting insight in this.